We are only moments away from Christmas. I can smell it in the air, I can feel it on my skin. It's a-coming, my friends. And so to celebrate, I have my top 5 festive recipes that are coming your way in this beautiful countdown. Take it away! My friends, I need to introduce you to the best Christmas ham you will ever make. This is ham in cola. We're gonna start it off with a boneless gammon joint. This is what we call it here in Ireland and the UK. We're gonna get straight in here. This is a really simple Christmas ham. I did mention that already, but stick with me because it is. So ham goes straight in a pot. We're now gonna pour in lots of cola. Now, if you're wondering why we're adding the cola here, it kind of caramelizes the exterior. You get this wonderful sweet flavor. And the interesting thing is that, you know, cola itself, it's a weird sort of flavor. I tend not to drink it, but I do cook with it because it gives you that sweetness. And to that, we're gonna ump up the spice. I've got a little bit of star anise here. I'm gonna pop these in here, and they have this wonderful sort of exotic fragrance that really adds lovely spice. And then we're going in there with a handful of cloves, just sprinkle them in here. We're also going in with about a tablespoon of black peppercorns, and just pop them in and around. And to bring this all together and to impart even more flavor, I've got 1 whole onion. The flavor you'll get from the onion is all you need. You're actually not gonna use the onion at all, so you don't need to take the skin off. Slice it up like that, tuck them into bed alongside your Christmas ham. Lid on, this is gonna cook for about an hour and a half. So remember, it's 40 minutes per kilogram of ham. So this is gonna stick on here, it's gonna cook away for all that time, and I do have one that has been prepared and cooked earlier, but I need to wash my hands first. Okay, now we need to talk about the glaze on this Christmas ham. The one that has cooked out and has cooled completely is ready to be glazed. So I'm gonna take this forward, we're gonna grab up our pot, and in this pot, there's a lot of liquid. At this point now, the liquid has done its job. It's imparted all the flavor. So we're gonna take this out and get rid of any of that excess liquid. I have a little bit of kitchen paper in my tray just to catch any of that extra liquid. This skin here, this bit of fat needs to be removed. So take up a sharp knife. Now the trick here is to keep as much of the fat but remove all the skin. Once you've sliced it all off, you get left with this, which can now be discarded. It's time to give this a little bit of decoration. So I like to do a nice little diamond section. So do lines across this way and then lines across the other way. Now, as I do this, this reminds me of the sort of work I used to do with my mom. Around Christmas time, I always got the job of putting the cloves in where all the little diamonds go on. So if you grab up a handful of these cloves, everywhere that there's a little cross where the lines have been slitted, basically stick in a clove. I do take this part of my job very seriously, and you do need to make sure you have beautiful cloves all the way around your ham. And at this point, it's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna get rid of this tissue paper, which soaked up all that liquid. Stick this forward, and now this is ready for a fantastic glaze. And for our glaze, we have a few ingredients. So it's 4 tablespoons of honey going in here, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're also gonna go a little bit of English mustard powder. And then finally, the juice of 1 orange. Give it a squeeze straight in there. Oh, I can smell it now. Christmas is in the air. We've got orange, we've got baked ham. This glaze now comes together straight on the hob. Get the heat on. This has been simmering away for about 6 to 8 minutes, and at this point now it's thickened up. So I'm gonna turn off the heat, and at this point take it off the heat, let it cool down ever so slightly. And you wanna grab up a pastry brush like this, or anything that you're gonna be able to brush your ham with. So take up that really hot sticky mess and spread it all over that ham. How good does this look? We have a fantastic Christmas ham, which is just about ready to go into the oven. But before I do, I'm gonna take up some more of that English mustard and just sprinkle it over the top. This is now ready to go into the oven at 220 degrees Celsius. That's 450 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna cook off for about 25 minutes, just until it is nice and golden brown. Let's go! Let the Christmas magic begin, because my friends, this is a Christmas ham you want to try. Look at how beautiful it is. It's glazed, it's gorgeous. I've taken it out of the oven, cooled it a little bit. For me, I like my Christmas ham to be sliced nice and thinly, so let's take a nice thin slither of it just to get a taste of it. You want to get a bit of that glaze going on. That, for me, is true Christmas perfection. Christmas dinner would not be Christmas dinner without the sides, so I'm going to show you how to make 3 of my absolute favourites with parsnips, carrots and some Brussels sprouts. Trim the ends off the Brussels sprouts and then tumble into a pot of boiling salted water for about 6 to 8 minutes until just tender. You can check if they're cooked by piercing with the tip of a sharp knife. Drain the sprouts and leave to cool completely. Slice the cooled sprouts in half. Place a pan over a medium heat and add in some butter to melt. Slice up 4 rindless smoked streaky bacon rashers and then fry off until golden brown. Add in some pecan nuts and toss to coat. Add in a generous amount of butter and then tumble in your sprouts. Fry off for 2 to 3 minutes. Season with some sea salt and black pepper. And when it's looking good, it's ready to serve. A perfect Christmas side dish. To a bowl, add some butter and some finely chopped shallot. Grate in 1 garlic clove. Finely chop some parsley and some thyme, and then mash it all together. Spread half the butter mixture over the base of some parchment paper, and then tumble the carrots on top. Dot the remaining butter over the carrots, and then roll the paper into a little parcel. Pop your parcel on a baking tray and place in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. Remove the carrots from the oven, open up your parcel and transfer to a serving dish. How good do they look? Cook your parsnips in a large pot of boiling water until just tender. In a large bowl, mix together the polenta, parmesan and some grated nutmeg. Mix together with a spoon and season with some sea salt and black pepper. When the parsnips are cooked, drain off the excess water and then add the parsnips to the parmesan and polenta mixture. Toss until completely coated. Place a large baking tray over a medium heat and add in a generous amount of butter. Melt it down and then add in your parsnips and coat completely in that melted hot butter. Place the parsnips in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius and cook for about 35 minutes until golden brown. Crispy golden parsnips. What's not to love? For the main course of my Christmas feast, I'm going to make a rolled turkey breast with a sage and cranberry stuffing. It's incredibly easy to carve and that's where the cheat comes in. It starts off by making the stuffing. So in a pan, I have sweated off some onions, some finely chopped onions in quite a lot of butter. And now that it's cooled, I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. And to give a little bit of sweetness to this stuffing, I'm using cranberries. For my aromatics, I'm going to use some sage leaves and a little bit of flat leaf parsley. So just take off a small handful of sage leaves and a small handful of parsley. Season it up with some sea salt and some ground black pepper. Give it a good mix through and just make sure all those breadcrumbs get coated in the butter and all those wonderful aromatic flavours. This stuffing is now ready for the turkey. So I have some turkey. I'm using a turkey breast here. It's a great way of feeding a lot of people and they're quite generous. Transfer the turkey across to a large chopping board. Take a sharp knife, keep your hand flat on top and then just run the knife in. And if this looks too challenging, you could of course ask your butcher to do it for you. Lay on a piece of parchment paper and then just using a meat tenderizer, hammer, or even a rolling pin will do, just flatten it out. And now it's time to stuff. So just push it around so that it lays out horizontally to you, and then grab that stuffing and place it over the top. Push the stuffing to one side and make sure that it's nice and compact, and then just roll it up. Just remove the parchment paper from underneath. And now that we have a beautifully stuffed turkey breast, it's time to tie this and make sure that it's nice and tight in the oven. I'm going to take some butcher's string, and you do want quite a bit to work with. Snip it off at the end, fit it in underneath the bird, and at the thickest part, you want to tie your first knot.
And then taking about 2 fingers of distance, you're going to do exactly the same thing, essentially. Run the string underneath the turkey breast, and then just slip that string underneath. Using this method, continue all the way down the breast of the bird. When you get to the end of your tying process, just flip the bird over like this, and then take the rest of that string and just run it through the rest of those little loops. Flip it over one final time, and then take that string and then tie it off here. Transfer it across to a baking tin. Bring the baking tin back to the chopping board, and then using some softened butter, just completely slather the whole top. And you want to be generous with your butter here. Give the hands a quick clean. Once the turkey breast is looking like this, it's time to put it in the oven. So I'm going to season up with some sea salt. This will now cook in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes per kilo. And a breast this size is going to cook for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. While this cooks off, I'm going to be basting it with a combination of maple syrup and a little bit of orange juice, and it gives the most beautiful golden color and a little sweet taste to that exterior of your bird. It's going to be absolutely amazing. As soon as the turkey has a really rich golden color on the skin, make sure to cover it with tin foil for the rest of the cooking time. When it comes out and the juices run nice and clear, it's cooked, so transfer it to a chopping board and allow it to rest under tin foil for a good amount of time so that you get left with loads of juices in the bottom of the board. Now, take off the tin foil and you get left with the most beautiful turkey. So it's ready to carve at this point. So using a little sharp scissors, just take off that string. Just snip it in little areas like this. This is the beautiful part about this method. There's no bones to think about. So give it nice, generous slices and just take off that end piece. And look at that. Just tender and moist, succulent pieces of turkey breast with that lovely, generous stuffing running through the center. It is a really simple method and a great thing to serve up this Christmas day. And serve it up with some crispy roast potatoes and some honey and sesame carrots and a really rich gravy, and it's something truly special.
Start it off by mixing some honey and some Dijon mustard in a small bowl. This is going to add some extra Christmas magic to your sausage rolls. Grab a large bowl and add in the sausage meat, herbs, breadcrumbs, cranberries, bacon, whole grain mustard, and a good pinch of salt and a crack of black pepper. Give all that mixture a really good stir and get those flavors going. Split the mixture down the middle and then grab some cling film and lay it flat on a board or work surface. Take the first half of your sausage mixture and roll it into a large sausage shape. Roll it and shape it until you have the right thickness, and then pop them into the fridge to chill and firm up for about 30 minutes. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius, unroll sheets of puff pastry and give them a good brush with your magic mustard mixture. This little step really amps up the flavour levels and is well worth doing. Grab your sausage meat from the fridge and unwrap the cling film. Place the first batch of the meat far enough over on the pastry that you can roll the pastry over the top, tucking it into a neat little parcel as you go. And now it's time to get cutting. Grab a sharp knife and cut into your chosen size. I like to do little canapé-sized sausage rolls, perfect for Christmas parties. Pop them onto a lined baking tray and pierce the top of each roll once or twice with a sharp knife. This gives a lovely effect when the pastry is cooked, and then when you brush with a little bit of egg wash and sprinkle half the rolls with sesame seeds, they're going to be epic. Cook in the oven for 25 minutes or until they're very delicious and golden brown. Take them out of the oven and allow to cool on a wire rack. And that's it, my friends. You are now in Sausage Roll City, and now I have to try one. Oh man, they are so good. I know I always say that, but they really are. They're one of my favorite Christmas treats. Crumbly puff pastry, really delicious savory and sweet sausage roll filling. You've got the cranberries in there, so you've got this extra kind of Christmas magic going on. The honey and the mustard. This is really worth trying. Move over, Granny. Christmas pudding is out. Christmas trifle is in. We're going to start off by making a chocolate custard. So in a pan, I have quite a lot of cream, and we're going to bring this up to temperature. We're going to make this custard. It's a very easy thing to do. This is going to simmer away, and while it's simmering away, I'm going to make up the custard base. So for that, I need 4 free-range eggs. So I've got 1, 2, and 3, 4. First things first, you need to separate your eggs from your egg yolks. So without them falling all over the counter, I'm going to get my whites in a little glass. So just separate away. Egg yolks in. Caster sugar in on top of this. And now just grab a hand whisk. You could do this with an electric one, but by hand, it goes very quickly. So mix that through. Now this is exactly what you're looking for, a very smooth and glossy pale mixture. And now it's just ready for my cream, which has come to temperature, so turn that off the heat. Now, you have to concentrate when you do this. First of all, trickle in a little bit of the hot cream. If you add it all in at once, what'll happen is it starts to cook out. So just mix in a little bit at a time, and once you start getting it together, you can be a little bit more generous with it. So whisking and pouring all at the same time. As soon as you've mixed all of that through, and you haven't cooked your eggs, it's time to get the mixture straight back onto the heat for it to thicken up. So, pour it very carefully back into the saucepan, looking good, heat back on, and bring this up to temperature and you'll start to see it thickening out. The key thing when you're waiting for it to come up to temperature is to make sure that you keep stirring. It can tend to catch around the bottom, so just keep stirring and you'll get left with a very smooth custard. Once that custard has thickened up, take it off the heat, and now it's time to crack in some dark chocolate. So I have some good quality dark chocolate, mix that in, and the heat of the custard is going to help melt that down and you'll be left with a lovely dark chocolate custard. Oh baby! Now this is why you add the chocolate in there. Luscious, creamy chocolate custard. This is what it's all about. So now this needs to cool completely, and then we're going to get on with the rest of the things to make this wonderful trifle. Now, while the custard is cooling, I need to tell you about the components of this fantastic Christmas trifle. Essentially, it's kind of like a Black Forest Gâteau Christmas trifle. So there's cherries, there's brownies, there's chocolate, there's custard, there's cream, lots of wonderful things. So I'm going to kick off by slicing up this brilliant brownie. Now, if you want the recipe for this brownie, you can click it in the link below. You can check it out there where we've made it up, and this is one that we've made earlier. It's cooled, and now I just need to slice it up into nice squares that are going to fit into my trifle bowl. Brownie is sliced up and ready for layering. I also have a creamy element, and that comes from some lightly whipped cream that I'm going to mix through with some creme fraiche. This makes a really thick, creamy mixture, and to that creme fraiche, I'm going to add some great flavour from some vanilla bean paste. If you can't get your hands on this, normal vanilla extract will do the job. And I love that you get those little flecks of black bean running throughout here. So, we've also got a little bit of icing sugar when I whipped up the cream, and now you've just got to mix this up. The creme fraiche in here is going to make this smooth and creamy and even more luxurious than it already is. My cream is beautifully mixed through, and it's time to assemble. Now, you could make this trifle into a giant trifle ball, but I'm going to go the extra mile. I'm going to make up some mini trifles. So I have these nice little glasses, which are perfect for making mini trifles. I'm going to take some slices of brownie, which I'm probably going to be easier if I take out over here, and just don't get all over there. Okay, so just take up a layer of chocolate brownie and press it into the base of each one of these little trifle balls. To give these trifles our lovely Black Forest Gâteau taste and feel, we will also be adding some cherries. Now, these cherries are straight from a can. They have a syrup, and with that syrup, you need to remove the cherries from the syrup, reduce down the syrup, add a little bit of kirsch, some liqueur, some cherry liqueur in there, and now you should be left with a beautiful cherry mixture, which goes straight over our brownies. Beautiful. We have got cherries in. Now it is time for that chocolate custard. This is just getting better and better. And then just to finish it off, I have that luscious creme fraiche mixture, which just needs dolloping over the top. give it a little bit of love with an offset spatula over the top. And now that I have these beautiful Christmas fairy tale peaks, I'm gonna finish it off with some white chocolate shavings and some dark chocolate shavings. The final finishing touch, which I just can't help. I mean, I know they look pretty good right now, but I'm gonna sprinkle them with some edible gold stars. Stick with me, my friends. Now that they've had their extra special touch of Christmas magic, it's time to try one. And this is the bit I've been waiting for. So I'm gonna dive in here. If that does not blow your granny's socks off this Christmas around your Christmas dinner table, I don't know what will. There you go. After that, I don't know how you couldn't be in a Christmas mood. I'm wearing a Christmas hat. I've got a Christmas tree. We've got all the lights. Baby Jesus in the corner. Well, actually, baby Noah, but close enough. All together, we are ready for Christmas, and I hope you are too. I'm going to wish you a very happy Christmas, and I hope you are surrounded by lots of love and joy and family and lots of gorgeous food this Christmas. Happy Christmas, and I'll see you soon. Bye.